Hey everybody, how's it going? I've been sitting here trying to wait for this sneeze to come out of my face, and it wouldn't come out, so now I'm like, it'll probably come out as soon as I start streaming, right? It's usually how this works. I've had to shut the window because I have allergies and the neighbors are mowing their lawn, so I have to have the fan on, but like always, if it's really bothering you, I will turn it off, so just let me know. Um, And how are you all doing today? Hey, Little V, how's it going? Hey, Solar. Today we're gonna keep working on this chonky lad right here. I have done exactly 0 painting on him since last we talked. I know I was thinking I was gonna have time to redo or to do his arms. I did not. I had to paint a unit of Blade Geists for my Escalation League for Age of Sigmar, and then I'm still also trying to work on these Beast Nega boys as well. So today I did a little bit of color blocking out their shirts and pants. So, and what's been exciting going on with me? That's a good question. What went on this week? Oh yeah, I had 2 Age of Sigmar games. Which were really, really fun, both against Seraphon, which Seraphon have some scary stuff now, let me tell you. And what else? I did not play any 40k. Nope, I didn't play any 40k this week. I did get a demo for Creature Caster's game Judgment, which is insanely fun. So I do anticipate playing more of that. Which is just a really fun skirmish game. I feel like it's a cross between a skirmish game and a board game. So I feel like if you're into board games, you'll probably like it, and if you're into skirmish games, you'll definitely like it. Also, if you play any, what are they called? MOBA games, video games, you probably like it too, because apparently it's made to mimic that sort of thing. And the models are beautiful because it's Creature Caster, right? So that's what I've done. Made a new list for orcs. I mean, it's basically just like a reworking. I took one of the knots out. I took one unit of the mega knobs out, and I just put some faster stuff in that list. I think that'll help me play the mission better, which was what I was sort of struggling with. I also added some stuff so it'll be able to deal with hordes a little bit better. So I'm gonna put together that. I've got this box that has been sitting here for a while, and this is my new Squigog boys. So these are gonna go in the list. Those Beast Nagas are gonna go in the list, and I'm super excited because I get to finally play with my Grot tanks. So I'm gonna put 4 Grot tanks in the list too. So excited for that. We also finalized the jerseys for my ITC team, so that's exciting. We're just getting a little sample sent to us to make sure the colors are right. And then hopefully we'll have those by the team tournament in November. Also got to plan a trip down to Play On again. Not to play, but just to sort of help out around the studio. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully I can make it work. And yeah, that's sort of what I've been up to this week. So with that, I'm going to put some flat green. It's going to be the exact same process that we did on the face. So I'm going to put some of this flat green into the palette, and we're going to glaze this on as the first layer highlight on his arms and hands. And I'm almost out of this, but I ordered a few more from my local game store, but I'm pretty sure I've got enough to get us through this guy. So just a little bit into the palette, because we're going to thin it out pretty good. So a little bit should go a long way. And I'm still using this same brush. The point is kind of starting to go on it. But, she's still got some life in her. She's got a bit of a hook in there, but, glazing is extremely hard on your brushes, so I try to get as much use out of the brush as possible. Dan the Ghost, hello, how's it going? Miss watching you play on. I was just there. I just had a battle report come out last last month. Um, and I will be going back. It's just they just need a little bit of help with like organizing the space and getting ready for hopefully some growth in the studio. And organization is kind of like my specialty. So cleaning, organizing, that sort of thing, I find that work very satisfying. So I just gotta be able to find the time. It's harder now. My husband is working and I have a dog, so I got to. I either have to like find a dog walker, which, he's a big guy. He's a big, powerful dog. So I can't just get like anybody to do it. Um, or I need to be able to plan it around my husband's days off. So yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a plan, but I want to go down and help, so I'm probably gonna make that happen. I'll probably fly this time too, because the drive is nice. Like, I like doing that drive, but I think my husband's gonna need the car. What else? Oh yeah, the Warmister and I are celebrating 10 years of marriage. Like, what? Time has flown. So that's why I'm not doing any any other releases this week, because I want to take the evenings off, spend some time with the Warmister. We go out for dinner a couple times. Do couples things. Also, like, I want something specific for a gift this year, and I'm not having an easy time finding it. So we're gonna need to take an evening and go shopping. So no creation, no content creation this week, but there is stuff in the works. So next week we should be back in on like the regular schedule. Nick's fault. It's always Nick's fault, right? Aw, thanks, guys. Yeah, apparently once you get past like year 7 or 8, like, you're good. So hopefully that's the case with us. But like I said, it doesn't feel like we've been together for 10 years. And he's so patient with me and like all my like incessant need to create stuff. It takes a lot of time out of my evenings to be able to like edit videos and record and things like that, and he's so patient. I also love that, like, I love watching my spouse do exciting things, and he's like creating a pretty cool sort of like, I guess, retail relationship with Creature Caster. Um, I have had ties with Creature Caster for a little while now, and it's just so cool to see like his own sort of relationship with the company kind of blossom, and it's really cool. Lil V says, I know you don't chase meta lists, but did the new balance data slate give you any satisfying improvements to your list? Well, okay, so my last list that I was using, it was a meme, right? Like, I took it to a sort of, I don't want to say narrative. It wasn't a narrative tournament, but like more of like a rule of cool kind of um, good for beginners kind of event. And it was really fun. And then I played it in a second event that was in a more competitive meta, and it just really struggled. So I knew after that one that I was going to make a new list. So, it didn't really, yeah, it didn't really change too much about like my plan going forward. I mean, I guess it gave me a few more points to work with because a lot of the stuff for orcs went down. Like a few things went up, but a lot of stuff went down. But yeah, it didn't really change like the idea of what I was gonna do. I'm also working with like my existing collection. I'm trying not to add too much new stuff so that I get burnt out, because chasing the meta with guard, it really burnt me out. Like continuously painting and trying to paint to a high enough standard, and then all my stuff that I worked so hard to paint was basically like made null. Um it was really hard. Like it just burnt me out. Like even now I look at my guard and like I have a bunch of stuff. I got like a Rogel Dorn. I have Lord Solar. Like I have a bunch of guard stuff, and I don't even want to paint it because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna build it and paint it, and then it's immediately gonna be made not viable to play. That's like, it's probably not the way, but that's how I feel just based off how guard was handled in ninth. So I'm trying not to get to that point with orcs. I'm trying to just sort of like work with what I have and add a few things here and there. So I think I was able to add like an extra unit of Storm Boys after the points drops came. And again, orcs didn't get anything in the balanced data slate, so so you know that they're doing okay. They weren't made better, they weren't made worse. They're almost sitting in like perfect 50% win rate. So that's what we want. We don't want to be hit too hard. Solar says, not feeling the first 10 is one off the keys to 20. Not feeling the first 10. So, oh, I get it. Yeah. Honestly, like, it's actually kind of scary, like, how fast that time has gone. Because it doesn't feel like 10 years. Just paint and play the stuff that you're eager about. Yeah, it's just, I've talked about this before. It's really hard in my local area. It's just super competitive, and like you don't want to just like paint the stuff that you're super excited about, um especially to like a higher level than everybody else, and you take your time, and you know you just don't want to do that and then have your stuff immediately removed from the table and not get past turn 2, like that is a real sort of consideration in my local meta, even with just like supposedly casual pickup games. So I have to compromise, right? Like, I don't want to just lose immediately, and I also don't want to be like stress painting every moment of every day to like chase the meta. So, finding that balance is like kind of a key, it's like a key thing for me to be able to enjoy 40k. I don't find it's as much of a problem in Age of Sigmar. The locals in Age of Sigmar in general tend to sort of play a bit more rule of cool. Like, oh, I bought this and I painted it, so I want to play it, and it's so refreshing. It's like my reset button when 40k is getting to be too much. Which is another reason why I just played Age of Sigmar this week. I was just like, I just need some chill games. I have my next league game for Age of Sigmar in a couple weeks. I don't know if it'll be as chill. Because it's like 2 undefeated people. I mean, I'll be chill. I'm playing the same list. Everybody is allowed to change their list at this particular escalation, but I'm just keeping everything. Because I want to play fully painted. You guys, I really enjoy painting skin, especially orc skin. This is so fun. I wish it didn't take quite as long, but it looks good in the end, so I guess I can't complain too hard. Dan says, my son was asking me what the Tyranids are like, so I got him to watch Starship Troopers with me. Now he wants to play Warhammer and be guard. That's awesome. Would you like to know more? Dan also says, I paint and play what I love. I prefer the narrative and story rather than the high competition. I just can't play narrative. I don't understand what the, like, I don't know what the expectations are with narrative. Like, when I play casual or I play competitive, like, I know what my expectations are. But with narrative, I'm always sit here being like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what is the correct thing I'm supposed to do in this moment? And I have never, ever, ever had a narrative player been able to explain to me what I'm supposed to be doing. So, I like the idea of it. I just don't think it's for me. It's always so funny to me how dark this orc skin starts. And like once all the cell shading stuff goes in, how bright it gets at the end. And like for some reason I painted my Beast Nega boys like even brighter. But I like it. I like it. I don't mind if like all of the units are a little bit different as well, cuz like my Bruiser Guard, which are like my Imperial Guard orcs, are a lot darker. So, I don't mind if they're a little bit different. As long as like the blues and the oranges are the same, I think it'll be cohesive. As long as we can make a story with a game, I'm happy. Okay, but like, how do you do that? Like, what does that mean? Make a story. Like, I don't understand. How, when I'm playing at the table and rolling dice, how do I make a story that's different than like making a story when I'm playing casually? And also, like, there are competitive players who make a story while they play. I know it may come as a shock to some people, but it's true. But apparently, narrative is different, and like, I've never, ever, ever been able to like understand how it's different. Like, why can't the two sides like come together on this? And I think also, like, in general, people are just really bad at communicating, like, their expectations. And I think that's also why I just, yeah, it's like speaking a different language when I'm playing with narrative players. I feel like a lot of them just sort of like expect me to understand what the expectations are. And I don't. They're just not able to communicate to me what they need. Solar says, I'm still trying to decide a faction. I played the Blood Angels Combat Patrol last week and was filled with meh. If I'm going to be brutally honest with you, I feel that way about all Space Marines. And I mean, I love my Space Wolves. In terms of lore and all that, like, they're my favorite. But when it comes to playing them on the table, I'm just like, meh, meh. Chaos Space Marines were the same thing, like, meh. Like, I'm going to continue to collect Space Wolves because I love them. But it's also quite freeing because then I can just paint what I want for them and I don't have to worry about, like, you know, is this good? Is this good? Am I going to play with this? Doesn't matter because I just love them. I still have this little guy. I keep him on my desk. Eventually I'm going to get to him. This little metal Terminator. Totally going to get to him at some point. Paint him my new scheme. But he needs some love. I want to put him on a bigger base. And I need to strip him and well, he needs to be primed. Like legitimately primed well with Rust-Oleum 2 times paint and primer. But yeah, I can't wait to paint this guy. He's going to be so cool. Solar says, I think the narrative thing may be more of the unbalanced teams fighting, like Helm's Deep and Lord of the Rings. Can you survive 5 turns? Right. So, like, I think a lot of people actually confuse narrative gaming um, with casual gaming, right? Like, I feel like a narrative game, to me, is one where you sort of, like, sit down with your opponent and you create a story or a scenario. Maybe there's special rules, etc. And then you play it out, right? So that's fine. But when I get to the table and it's time to make decisions, I just don't know what to do. Like, am I trying to win? Am I trying to lose? Like the Helm's Deep thing. We know what happens there. Am I trying to play the game so, like, it happens like the story? You know? Like, somebody wrote the scenario. Do they have, like, an expected outcome? How do I play to that expected outcome? Like, it's all very confusing to me. You know? And then, like, if I make the wrong decision or whatever, then everybody will just roll their eyes, be like, oh. It's like, well, you didn't communicate, like, your expectations. So, in general, I just try to avoid narrative gaming. I've not been able to, like, figure out where the fun is there. Late for the party, but you're here now, Jeff. Thank you for joining us. So we rejoin the age-old narrative versus casual versus competitive discussion. Yeah, it comes up a lot. It comes up a lot because people seem to think that there's like these two sides of wargaming. This is in my experience, in what I have observed, that there are two ways to wargame, which is competitive or narrative, and I think that that is true. There are two, but there's also the more popular way of wargaming, which is casual, which is something kind of in the middle, which is how the majority of people actually play the game. Um, and and yeah, I think casual and competitive are like both very passionate about what they do, but I honestly think that there's like more in common with each other than not, and that's why casual gaming is the most popular way to play. Change my mind. Change my mind. Okay, I feel like that's good for that arm. I'm going to move on to the other one now with the same color. Dan says, I'm Ultramarine and I've started Raven Guard. I tried playing Raven Guard in the last edition and I was like, I'm confused. Half of their rules seem to be that they want to be up close, and then the other half seems like they want to be away. uh, could you define casual? So casual to me is like usually matched play. It's usually just like open game night sort of playing, where you just make a list, like an all comers list, and then you go play your friend or maybe a stranger at the game store. And like, it's random terrain, it's a random mission, and all of that, and then you just bring some models, roll some dice. You probably are trying to win. But if weird stuff happens with the dice, or if you like make a decision just because you think it's gonna like be a cool sort of like narrative, or something like it's gonna create a cool story on the table, you might do that. If you see an opening with cool tactics, you might do that. It's kind of just like a blend of the two. I think it's the way to play with the least amount of expectations. Usually casual players as well are not going to spam the best things in the codex. They might bring like one or two of those things, or they're not going to bring as many as possible. But they're also just not going to make a list like specifically because it's narrative and match. Like they're not going to bring like 100 Space Marines because that's what's in a company or whatever. I don't know any of that stuff. Don't quote me. I'm just like trying to give an example, right? They're going to just bring what's in their collection and like bring some stuff they think is cool and bring some stuff they think is effective. Balance in the force. It's hard to like paint underneath these big, what do you even call those? Shoulder pauldrons? So if I get quiet, it's because I'm concentrating. Solar says, down in my area, folks claim casual, but they chase the meta. They measure to the nanometer and they complain a lot, but they won't go to tournaments. Yeah, I think most casual players have, like, true casual players are like, that's close enough. That's fine. Like, they don't want to be taken out of the game to, like, argue about rules or, you know. But at the same time, I think we all can agree that win at all cost players exist everywhere in wargaming. It's definitely not, um, like the realm of one of these types of play, right? Like those whack players exist everywhere. And whack isn't even playing competitive. Whack is not bringing like a crazy powerful list. Whack is like you said, like being overly critical and trying to angle shoot and get an advantage over your opponent in like how you interpret rules and things. So that's a bit whack. And you'll find that everywhere. I've found that in narrative players, I've found it in casual players, and I've found it in competitive players. My general rule with like movement errors and stuff is like I won't say anything about small errors if it happens once or maybe twice. If it happens more than that, then I'll like address it. Also, like if I have a huge points advantage and we're in like we're in round like 4 or 5, I won't address it. It doesn't matter. With the exception of if the person is like learning and has expressed that they would like that pointed out. But I kind of like read the situation. Does it make a difference? Is it a mistake? Like just like a one-off kind of whoopsies? Or is this like a consistent thing that they've been doing? And then it also kind of like is like how big of a rules blunder is it, Like is it just like a problem in piling in that, doesn't make that much of a difference? I probably won't mention it. Are they consolidating after fighting when the rules state that they can't? Well, then I'll probably say something about that. Good morning, Alex. How's it going? uh, Thank you for the serenade, Alex. How are you doing? Hey, Jude. How's it going? Terror from the green tides. To get men arrives for all your teeth. Oh no. Well, I mean, you can have my teeth if I can have new ones. How about that? Is that a deal? I made my dog's favorite cookies last night, and I swear for half the night he just stood at the sat at the counter looking up longingly at the cookies. It's like, I know what's up there. Woman, I know what is up there. Those are apple oatmeal cookies with 1/3 the amount of sugar as normal cookies because that's how I roll. So funny. I'm also making like a big family lunch when I'm off here. I like prepped a bunch of it yesterday. I was actually thinking it was going to be like a sunny day, so I made like a bunch of cold salads and stuff, and now it's like not sunny, which I'm also happy about. I'm totally um like a rainy fall kind of person, so I'm happy about that, but I also was like, "Oh, maybe I should have made soup." Digitman says, I also still haven't figured out where I can find your podcast. So you can find it on YouTube. I think it's under the podcast tab on my channel. Or videos. It should be one or the other. Or you can find it on Spotify for sure. Jeff says, you don't want my teeth, they're in bad shape. Not worth much. I feel that. I feel that. Digitman says, Humi teeth, disgraceful. Orcs don't want none of those puny dull things they call teeth. Yeah, I think I might actually paint one of this, I'll probably paint this one because it's got like a little rivet on it. I think I'm going to paint this one gold. Because why not? Look at him. He obviously has a gold tooth. He's got all, like, the shiny bits. Soup is good. Don't need many teeth. I love a good soup. I actually just really enjoy cooking, which is good because, like, the price of food is skyrocketing in Canada. So, like, people who don't know how to make stuff from scratch, I think, are going to be in trouble coming up soon. Like, feeling #blessed that my mother made me cook dinner every day after school from the time I was like 8 years old on. #blessed. Who can make pot roast at 9 years old? This one. Dan says, we march for McCrag. I actually don't hate the Ultramarines as much as, like, some people in the community. The Warmistress actually plays a bit of Ultramarines. I just always really liked the whole, like, F you attitude that Space Wolves had. Like, we don't need your stinking Codex Astartes. We've been doing things our way since forever. I just like that. And I think it's because I don't, like, I'm a very by the book kind of person. So I want to, like, experience the other side of that, you know? I would like to be a little less by the book. I think that's why the Space Wolves appeal to me. It's so funny. Like, people want to talk about, like, where they would likely end up in the Imperium of Man if they lived in the 41st millennium. Like, oh, I'd totally be a space marine. Oh, I'd be a guardsman. I have no doubts about where I would end up. I would be an administrative adept. I would be like strapped into a cogitator, like organizing documents. I would be like down in the bowels of some like citadel on a frickin' throne world somewhere, just like doing accounting. Yeah, that's what I would be. I'd be pasty. I'd never see the sun. I'd never get to go outside. That's where I would be. Yeah. Digitman says, it's not that we hate the Blue Marines, it's that they easy to make fun of. Dan says I would be dead. I mean, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be a guardsman, so maybe I'd live a little longer. But probably not by much. But yeah. I always think it's so funny that like people are like, where would I be? I'd be a space marine. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. None of us would be. Maybe Stephen Box would. He might be a space marine. Ticketman says, my dad plays Ultramarines, and it's possible I might probably inherit. I'm gonna remake them into Blood Angels. Ooh. Sirken says, greasy grot working to death. That's where you'd be? Solar says, I'd be in a chaos cult or corpse starch, probably starch. I mean, you could have been one and then just transition seamlessly into the other, though, right? Cute Nails the stream. Oh, thanks. They've seen better days. They definitely need a fill this week coming. Sounds a big chip out of it. So, yeah. Definitely need to do those. I think I'm going to paint them to match my Night Haunt. And what's on my sweater? It's just floral. It's just flowers. That's all. The Gitman is talking to Solar. I will mind my business then. Alright. Back to the business of painting. I was hoping I would get at least 2 layers on his arms today, but it's not looking like I'm gonna get there. At least not finished the second layer. I also think it's funny. So, like, I have been slowly turning into an orc because I have been taking a mushroom supplement, which I know is hilarious, but I've been taking lion's mane mushrooms because There's like some really interesting scientific studies coming out that show that they help with like neuroplasticity and stuff like that, and memory, which, as you all know, if you've been listening to my podcast, um, my memory sucks. I have a really hard time like remembering anything. So I was like, well, if this helps, I would like to try it. So I've been trying it. Haven't been taking it long enough to know, but then I was like, oh man, like I'm basically consuming orcs every day in the hopes that I gain their knowledge. Metal. Metal. Also, I've been wanting to record the podcast, but I always just feel like there's like noise in my house. One of my neighbors, because I live in like townhouse, so like we're all sort of connected. One of them is doing major renovations. So on the weekends, which is normally when I record, it's just so freaking loud. So I don't know if maybe I might be able to like take the laptop and everything to the store, the game store, because they have private rooms, and the D&D room is actually like quite quiet. So like I might be able to record there if it continues. Oh, and if we do that, I guess I could just get Alex to like meet me there. Oh, that could be kind of fun. I have to make a new overlay though, just one video overlay. We'll have to see. I'll have to see how that goes. And then I probably have to get like a USB interface and get a second mic. But then his audio quality would be just as good. Would that be fun? Would you guys like that? Let me know. The dynamic might change actually. It might be actually more fun to do it that way. Yeah, I'm going to talk to Alex about it. And the game store. Put a little like sponsored by us, Obsidian Games. Let's get caught up on the chat here. Ticketman says, if I'm in the 41st millennium, I was gonna run with the boys and crush all the weedy wimpy gits and fight, cause we's orcs. Yes, I could definitely see you with the orcs. Jeff says, isn't that one of the myriad power space marines have? Eat something and get their memories? Yeah, I think they specifically have to eat the brain, though, which is kind of weird. But yes, it is. Okay, also, do Kroot have that? Because I know, like, Kroot like to eat, like, their enemies, but also their friends. So, like, do they actually get anything tangible from that, or is it more of like a spiritual thing? Like, I get your spiritual strength. Somebody who knows more than me, enlighten me. Okay, I'm gonna start with. Oh, I missed a spot here. Jeff says, Kroot gain genetic material from eating things. It's how they adapt and evolve. Oh. So, like, they could... Wait, don't Tyranids do that too? Is that why Kroot kind of look like the platypuses of 40k? Full belly counts as tangible. Fair. That's the whole shtick with the Shapers. They select what things to eat to gain the best genetic advantages for their tribe. Interesting. They want to gain a small portion of an enemy's strength, such as endurance or toughness. They don't really eat demons. Well, because demons... You can't really eat a demon. Plus, like, aren't they just made up of, like, dead flesh? So then, like, when the spirit leaves, it just reverts back to, like, slimy dead flesh? GW has a cannibalism fetish, I think. Maybe. There's definitely, like, some sort of, like, food weirdness in this lore that I'm coming to grips with here. Okay, so second layer is going to be olive green. Really don't need that much. Like, I just put the tiniest bit into the palette of the flat green and it was too much. So, I'm going to put less of this olive green. And we'll start doing some muscles. And again, when glazing, you always kind of want to leave the brush leaves the model where the highest highlight's going to be. Jeff says, for real, Marines eat brains to get memories, Kroot eat people to gain their genetic advantages, corpse starch is the thing, I worry about those people sometimes, right? It's getting kind of strange. Ogres from fantasy can eat demons, so you actually can consume the flesh of a demon if you wanted to go completely insane. Sure, but ogres do eat dead stuff. Like, ogres literally eat metal. Ogres will eat anything, so... With all the changes, I'm going to start my orc journey very soon. Ooh, welcome to the WA. Which flavor of orcs? What's your favorite flavor of mushroom? Mine is blue. It's only thanks to their massive digestive system that ogres can eat demons. Yep. In the grim darkness of the GW headquarters, everyone is food. Oh. Solar wins best comment of the day. I'm sorry, nobody can possibly beat that comment. Fantastic. Okay, back to the olive green. So I told my husband that I was going to make, like, a big lunch. Like, the way to my husband's heart is through home-cooked meals. So he's like, oh, I'll even walk the dog for you so that you just get off stream and start cooking. It was, like, actually adorable. So, yeah. And that's my love language, I think, is, like, feeding people. Like at Christmas, if I love you, you get like a big tin of cookies. Does anybody have an e-bicycle, by the way? I know this is like a weird um, conversation, but I am quite often like stuck at home um, because my degenerative condition makes it so I can't really walk downhill. And, well, I live on the top of a hill. So if I want to do anything, like, I'm kind of stuck unless I want to take the bus, and the bus is sketchy. So, um, I was thinking, well, maybe if I get an e-bicycle, because I'm allowed to ride a stationary bike. It's one of the 3 exercises I'm allowed to do. So I was like, well, maybe if I get like a pedal assist bicycle, then like I could ride it uphill too. Is that how that works? How does an e-bike work? PCG Scorpion says might be going to kind of Norse orcs, so blue with runes, I think. Ooh, that does sound interesting. The Gitman says, well, everyone is food because GW is releasing all these Tyranid models that are eating up all their employees. Biomass is biomass, is it? Am I right? Am I right? There's dog hair everywhere in my house, by the way. I always gotta kind of like check for dog hairs on the model, on the brush, on the palette. Frickin' huskies, man. Dan says, don't worry about the Tyranids. Us Ultramarines will stop them. Maybe. If I have faith, kinda. A little bit. I believe that the Ultramarines will give it their best. Solar says, I can send e-bike info to you later today. I would appreciate it. I'm just like looking for ways to more easily get out of the house. We only have one car, and there's really nowhere in our budget where we can afford like a second one. So I was like, well, maybe I could do an e-bike. Cause like I have a stationary bike, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother my condition. So if I could like get an e-bike to kind of work the same way, that would be great. I could get around. If that's not going to work out, I could look into getting like a moped. Which, like, nothing says badass quite like a moped, am I right? Riding around on a little Vespa. Jeff says, at least you don't have to worry about escaped feeder insects, such as the peril of being a reptile owner. You occasionally find roaches or various larvae in old places. Yeah, no. No, thank you. No, I would much rather deal with the dog hair. Thank you. Thank you for putting it into perspective for me. Although I do find crickets really fascinating. We have a ton of them where I live. So you just be like walking down the sidewalk at night. It's just like a sea of crickets. Just. But they're much cooler outside of my house than inside my house. Just saying. Would much rather them be outside. I was really hoping that I'd be able to get like more done, but I feel like that is a recurring theme on my streams. I always have these grand ideas of what I would like to get done, and I never hit that mark. Bummerino. I'm gonna try and get this hand done at least, and then I'll just have to finish up this layer on the other arm. Then we can work on the arms again next week. I mean, the real magic happens when the next two colors go on. Solar says, motorbike beyond e-bike is a bad idea. I'm a daily motorcyclist and you will fall eventually. Not good for your recovery. Is a moped a motorcycle, though? It's basically a gas-powered bicycle. Like, you don't even need a special license for it here, whereas you do need a special license for motorcycles. Like, do mopeds even make 60 kilometers an hour? That's a good question to me. I don't even think they make 60 kilometers an hour. Jeff says, I feel the same. I always say, I'm going to watch Tanya stream and get some painting done, and I never accomplish anything. Did you sit at your painting desk? Did you at least sit with stuff in front of you? That's the trick. Because, like, eventually, the stuff is in front of you, so then you'll just start using it anyway. That's why I always tell people, like, your productivity goes up so much when you have like a designated painting area, and the designated painting area has like whatever your painting entertainment is. So for me it's like podcasts or music. So I have access to all of that stuff right in front of me. And then I just do it. And I was not that productive when we lived in a tiny studio apartment while we were saving money for this place. I didn't get nearly as much stuff done. Jeff says, mopeds and scooters don't ride in bike lanes. They travel in traffic lanes, and they're just as easily missed by motorists in cars as motorcycles are. Fair enough. Anything that goes up to 48 kilometers can break a bone. Okay, but a bicycle can break a bone. I mean, I broke a bone in my foot on a bicycle. So, roller skates, you can break anything. I've seen so many things broken on roller skates. So you can't really think about it like that, right? Jeff Rockwell says, I'm not getting much done right now, largely because I'm waiting on hernia surgery. I remember you saying that. Hunching over the hobby desk is painful. But I like to delude myself into thinking I might. I feel you about hunching over the desk, and actually painting on stream for me is the worst because I have to paint like over the desk. Whereas when I paint, I have like a telescopic light. Like it kind of moves all over the place. So I actually, when I'm painting for myself, I actually like sit up straight, lean back, and I've got like my like little telescopic light. And like my model is like right here. So like I can sitting up. And it feels a lot better. And unfortunately, I can't do that on stream because you guys gotta be able to see what I'm doing. And I work off of a desk that's like 1.5 by 2 feet. It's very small, very compact. And yeah, there's just not enough room to put like an actual rig up for like a better camera and a better microphone and all that stuff, unfortunately. So I just, suffer for you guys. Just joking. But yeah, I would like to be able to like paint here. Like this. I do think that like looking at where your body is most comfortable and then creating a workspace around that, I think is really good. Like I built my desk. It's not the prettiest, but it's tall, and I have a tall chair. And yeah, I just I feel better because I've made my space fit me instead of making me fit my space, if that makes sense. Jeff says, I need to do some major overhauls to my hobby space once the surgery is taken care of. I fully support that. Like, I mean, I had like the double motivation of this is also where I work. So I'm here most of my time that I'm in my house. So I needed to like make the space just better for myself. And I'm so glad that I did. I also, because my space is so small, I wish I could show you guys. My space is so small that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to have like organizers or anything off to the side. So I built like a paint rack in front of me. It's huge. It takes up like the whole 2 feet on the wall in front of me. And then all of my paints go there. So I never have to like clean up my desk because I just, when I'm done with the paint, I just put it back into the rack. And it's all like Roy G. Biv. It's easy to find stuff. All my washes, my metallics, like everything is kind of like in its own spot. I'm like a very organized person. And then I've got like jars on like the side by the wall. I should just explain this setup because like I'm actually quite proud of how cheaply I made this work. So on the wall, I have 4 jars. The first one is for new unused brushes. The next one is for brushes that are used but can still be used for like basing, dry brushing, glue, if I need to like do a PVA wash on something. My next jar is my tools. So that's like my sculpting tools. I've got a palette knife, all of my different clippers. I've got tweezers, like hand vise, like all that stuff. And then I have another jar that has like all of my pens, pencils, Sharpies, and all of that stuff. And then there's like glues are kind of like stacked up beside it. I'm also like a girl, so I always have like um I always have like girly stuff. So I always have like lip balms and stuff. Cause you gotta moisturize, yo. I guess I'm actually kind of obsessed with moisture because I also have eye drops, especially during forest fire season. I also have like hand cream because you gotta be moisturized, right? And then I also have 2 cuticle oils because you gotta be moisturized. And then I've got, yeah, different adhesives and things for hobby. And then I also have like on the other side, I've got palette, vortex mixer, wash water. I got like a USB, um, like hub over here, all sorts of things. I got like everything I need. And then I still am able to keep like a big open space in the middle of my desk because I don't like feeling like everything is like sort of like, gonna fall on me. I like to have big open spaces. Um, Solar says, send e-bike stuff to Instagram. Thank you, Solar. I'm gonna check that out. I'll find time. I will find time to check it out. Not sure when, but I'll find time. Um, Jeff says, my hobby space would probably make you burst a vein with how much of a mess it is. I hate it, but my particular brand of neurospicy means that organization is a pipe dream most of the time. Nothing wrong with moist skin. Um, I'm like obsessed with skincare actually, because it's something that I have struggled with my entire life. So just making sure that I'm taken care of. It's like my self care that I can just easily do. But as for like, so here, I never used to be an organized person. I'm gonna say this. I never used to be that organized. So what changed? It's like I had this aha moment that the reason why I'm not organized is because it's not convenient to be organized, right? So, like, if you don't have a jar or some sort of container that you can put your brushes in when you're not using them, that's easy to get to and accessible, you're just going to drop them wherever they are, right? If you don't have a racking system for your paints where you can easily see them, easily get at them, and easily put them away, you're just going to leave them where they lie. You know, that's what I came to realize, is that like a lot of the times we don't make it convenient for ourselves to stay organized, and that's why you become disorganized. Um, so I've definitely come up with like different strategies to remain organized, but it's not like it's more like a systems thing. I like create systems to stay organized. I'm not somebody who is like naturally organized. I had to work at it for sure. Um, Friendly neighborhood inquisitor, how's it going? I'm doing well. I am just getting ready to uh shut her down. Actually, I put some two glazed highlights on this side, and one on this side. That's what we did today on stream. So at some point today, I will do the second layer of highlights over here and get us all set up so that we can basically get the skin up to this layer on the next stream. And then we'll be done the skin. And then everything is going to come together super fast after that. I'm really excited for this guy. He's just going to look so good on the table. He's a chonkster. Um, but yeah, super excited to... He's not in my list. I thought that he was going to be in my list, but when I take Gaz out, which I probably will, he's kind of hard to maneuver around the board being so big. I'm probably going to put this guy in instead. Because he just brings back a Mega Knob. As crazy as that is, like every battle round just brings one back. Like, what? Insane. So yeah, that's what I did on stream today. We did a lot of chit-chatting. So yeah, I'm going to work on him a little bit today to bring him up to speed on this side as on that side. Whoops, sorry I knocked you guys over there. So what else do I have going on this week? So this week I have, like I said, it's the Warmistress and I's 10-year wedding anniversary. So we're going to do, I don't know, we're just going to hang out. I'm not going to do any content creation because it actually takes up a lot of my evenings. And I would just like to spend the evening with him this week. And then I have on Saturday, I have a practice game with one of my teammates, team participant, because we're doing a team tournament in November. So we have to sort of play test our lists and kind of figure it out what we're going to do. So that's what I'm going to do on Saturday. And that's it. I'm going to try and get another game of Judgment in because it's really fun. So that's my plan for the week. Not too much going on. We are going to be recording Forge the Narrative next week, this week for next week. So keep your eyes open for that as well. And so Dan says, I'm off to bed, early day tomorrow. Well, have a good night, Dan. And I hope that you have a great day at work tomorrow as well. So, yeah, that's me. I hope that you all have a wonderful day. I hope that you get games in if you want to play games. I hope you paint stuff if you want to paint stuff. And until next time, everybody, be nice and roll dice. Bye.